Warning. The following podcast contains adult languages and mature subject matter intended for adult audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
This is Rancid Readings, Episode 4, on February 17th, 2016, with your host, Arcade, and 3 pigeons in a man-suit, appropriately named Pigeon, and today we're continuing the Eye of Argon. I have heard vaguely of Accordia. It is the hill country to the far east of the Norgolian Empire. I have also heard Agafim curse your land more than once when his troops were routed in the unaccustomed mountains and gorges. Saith
she. Aye, my people are not tarnished by petty luxuries and bubbles. They remain fierce and unconquerable in their native climes. After reaching the hidden panel at the head of the stairway, Grigner was at a loss in regards to its operation. His fiercest heaves were as pebbles against burnished armor. Carthena depressed a small symbol included within the elaborate design upon the panel, where open it slowly slid into a cleft in the wall.
"How did you come to be the victim of those crazed shaman?"
quested Grigner as he escorted Carthena through the piles of rummage on the left side of the trap.
We're open. That's a new one.
Yeah, it's one word.
By Agafim's orders, I was thrust into a secluded cell to await his passing of sentence. What the actual fuck is that sentence?
I got nothing.
By some means, the priests of Argon acquired a set of keys to the cell. They slew the guard placed over me and abducted me to the chamber in which you channeled upon the Zoric.
I have no idea what that word is.
S-C-O-Z-S-C-T-I-C.
Sacrifice.
Upon the Zoric sacrifice. Their hellspawn cult demand a sacrifice once every 3 moons upon its full journey through the heavens. They were startled by your unannounced appearance through the fear that you had been sent by Agafim. The prince would surely have submitted them to the most ghastly of tortures if he had ever discovered their unfaithfulness to Sargon, his bastard deity. Many of the partakers of this ritual were high nobles and high trustees of the inner palace. Agafim's pitiless wrath would have been unparalleled.
They have no more to fear of Agafim now, bellowed Grigner in a deep, mirthful tone. Yes, tone. A gleeful smirk upon his face. I have seen that they were delivered from his vengeance. Engrossed by Carthena's graceful strides and conversation, Grigner failed to take note of the footfalls rapidly approaching behind him. As he swung aside the arched portal linking the chamber with the corridors beyond, a maddened, bloodlusting screech reverberated from his eardrums.
Yes.
So, like, his ears were just like,
His ears screamed.
Yeah, his ears screamed. Seemingly utilizing the speed of thought, Grigner swiveled... Oh, he got it right!
Oh my god!
He got it right! Grigner swiveled to face his unknown foe. With gaping eyes and widened jaws, Grigner raised his axe above his surly mane. But he was too late!
Dun dun dun, Chapter
Chapter 7. With wobbling knees and swimming head, the priest that had lapsed into an epileptic seizure rose unsteadily to his feet. So seizure dude's just fine.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh shit, I had a seizure.
He just
gets up. While enacting his choking fit in writhing agony, the shaman was overlooked by Grigner. The barbarian had mistaken the seizure for the death throes of the acolyte. So Grigner thought he scared this guy to death.
Yeah.
This dude just like starts freaking out and having a seizure, and Grigner's like, damn, I must be scary. Mistaken the seizure of the death for the death throes of the acolyte, allowing the priest to avoid his stinging blade. The sight that met the priest's inflamed eyes nearly served to sprawl him upon the floor once more. The sacrificial sat it grim, blood-spattered silence all around him, broken only by the occasional yelps and howls of his maimed and butchered fellows. Above his head rose the hideous idol, its empty sockets holding the shaman's eye-furbished, infuriated gaze.
What?
So the dude, wakes up and he's like, "Oh, fuck, everyone's dead!" And he just about has another seizure.
I guess so.
His eyes turned to a stony glaze with the realization of the pillage and blasphemy. Due to his high susceptibility following the seizure, the priest was transformed into a raving maniac bent solely upon wreaking vengeance. With lips curled and quivering, a crust of foam dripping from them, the acolyte drew a long, wicked-looking, jewel-hilted scimitar from his silver girdle and fled through the aperture in the ceiling, uttering a faintly perceptible ceremonial gibberish.
You almost got through. And by the way, it's chapter 7.5?
Yeah, that 2 paragraphs was a half chapter. A sweeping scimitar swung towards Grigner's head in a shallowed blur of motion. With axe raised over his head, Grigner prepared to parry the blow while gaping wide-eyed in open-mouthed perplexity. Suddenly a sharp snap resounded behind the frothing shaman. The scimitar, halfway through its fatal sweep, dropped from a quivering, nerveless hand, clattering harmlessly to the Stone Age.
Stone Age.
The Stone Age. He dropped it back in time. Cutting his screech short with a bubbling, red-mouthed gurgle, the lacerated acolyte staggered under the pressure of the released springboard. After a moment of hopeless struggling, the shaman buckled, sprawling face down in a widening pool of blood and entrails, his regal purple robe blending enhancingly with the swirling streams of crimson.
I thought I had killed the last of those dogs,
muttered Grigner in a half-apathetic state. Nay, Grigner, you doubtless grew careless while giving vent to your lusts.
But let us not tarry long lest we overtax the fates. The paths leading to freedom will soon be barred. The fucking pigeon is laughing at my voice and trying not to lose his shit while I'm doing it. Because my voice is a lot funnier than his.
Where am I doing?
Still your go.
Yep.
The wench's cries must be certainly attracted unwanted attention, the wench mused. By what direction shall we pursue our flight?
I think by what direction shall we pursue our flight is Grigner.
I can't tell who is talking.
I think it's Grigner is indented, but she isn't. So I think up that stair and down the corridor.
Up that stair and down the corridor, a short distance, is a concealed entrance to the tunnel, seldom used by others than the prince, and known to few others than save the palace's royalty. It is used mainly by the prince when he wishes to take leave of the palace in secret. It is not always the prince's best interest.
Shut up! Shut up! Keep reading!
This helium is fucking us up, folks.
This is the worst shit ever.
It is not always in the prince's best interest to leave a chateau in public view, even while heavy guard is often assaulted by hurtling stones and rotting fruits. The commoners have little love for him.
Lectured the Nera lady? It is amazing that they would ever have left a pig like him become their ruler. No, I read that right. Ever have left a pig like him.
Yeah.
I should imagine that his people would rise up and crucify him like the dog he is, because people often crucify dogs.
Alas, Grigner, it is not as simple as all that. His soldiers are well paid by him. So long as he keeps their wages, they will carry out his damned wished. They will carry out his damned wished. The crude implements of the common folk would never stand up to an onslaught of forged blades and protective armor. They would be going to their own slaughter.
Stated Carthena to a confused but angered Grigner as they topped the stairway.
Grigner, smash!
Yet how can they bear to live under such oppression? I would sooner die beneath a sword than live under a dog's command, added Grigner, as the pair stalked down the hall in the opposite direction, that in which Grigner had come.
But all men are not of the same mold that you were born of. They choose to live as they so as to save their filthy necks from the chopping block.
Returned Carthena in a disgusted tone as she cast an appeased glance towards the stalwart figure at her side, whose left arm was wound dexterously around her slim waist, his slowly waning torch casting their images in intermingling wisps as it dangled from his left hand. Presently, Carthena came upon the panel, concealed amongst the other granite slabs and discernible only by the burned crescent above it. This is you.
Yes, sorry. As I pushed the crescent aside, pushed the panel inwards.
Carthena motioned to the panel she was referring to and twisted the crescent into a counterclockwise motion.
Grigna braced his right shoulder against the walling, concentrating the force of his bulk against it. The slab gradually swung inward with a slight grating sound. Carthena stooped beneath Grigna's corded arm and crawled upon all fours into the passage beyond. Grigna followed after easing the slab back into place.
Winding before the pair was a dark, musty tunnel, exhibiting tangled spiderwebs from it, sealing into wall and oozing sickly slime running lazily upon its floor. Hanging from the chipped wall upon Grigna's right side was a wall half-molded corpse, its grey flacking arms held in place by rusted iron manacles. Carthena flinched back into Grigna's arms at sight of the leering set in an ugly distorted grimace, staring horribly at her from hollow gaping sockets.
This alcove must also be used by Agaphim as a torture chamber.
I wonder how many of his enemies have disappeared into these haunts never to be heard from again, pondered the hulking brute.
Let us flee before we are also caught within Agaphim's ghastly clutches. The exit from this tunnel cannot be very far from here,
said Carthena with a slight sob to her voice as she sagged in Grigna's encompassing embrace.
Aye, it will be best to be finished with this corridor as soon as possible. But why do you flinch from the sight of death so? Murph!
Oh, there's no K in that one, it's Mrift now.
You have seen so much death this day without exhibiting such emotions,
exclaimed Grigna as he led her trembling form along the dingy confines.
The man hanging from the wall was Doyanta. He committed a folly of showing affections for me in front of Agaphim. He never meant any harm by his actions. How the fuck do you know that?
Yeah.
If he's like this
He's
grey,
like this
rotten
gross, rotten
corpse.
skeleton. It's like, oh, I recognize Jim. Poor Jim.
Alas, poor Yorick. There was never anything between us, yet Agaphim did this to him. The beast. May the demons of hell's deepest haunt claw away at his wretched flesh for this merciless act.
She prayed. I detect that you felt more for this fellow than you wished to let on. But enough of this. We can talk of such matters after we are once more free to do so. With this, Grigna lifted the grieved female to her feet and strode onward down the corridor, supporting the bulk of her weight with his surging left arm. Presently, a dim light was perceptibly filtering into the tunnel. The light was perceptibly filtering in.
Yeah, I was just...
You know, if you say in a sentence ever that there is light, obviously it is perceived.
Yes, that is correct.
Casting a dim reddish hue upon the mouldy wall of the passage's grim confines, Carthena had ceased her whimpering and partially regained her composure.
The tunnel's end must be nearing. Rays of sunlight are beginning to seep into...
You know, like the first sentence in that paragraph
we're perceiving
said.
light.
Yeah. Grigna clammied his right hand over Carthena's mouth and with a slight struggle pulled her over to the shadows at the right-hand wall of the path, while at the same time thrusting his torch beneath an overhanging stone to smother its flickering rays.
Be silent!
I can hear footfalls approaching through the tunnel, growled Grigna in a hushed tone.
All that you hear are the horses corralled at the far end of the tunnel. That is the further sign that we are nearing our goal.
She started!
Yeah, she started.
Oh, she started.
Yeah.
With an exclamation mark.
All that you hear is less than I hear! I heard footsteps coming towards us. Silence yourself that we may find out whom we are being brought into contact with. I doubt that anyone would have thought as yet of searching this passage for us. The advantage of surprise will be upon our side, Grigna warned. Garthena cast her eyes downward and ceased any further pursuit towards conversation, an irritating habit in which she had gained an amazing proficiency. Two figures came into the pair's view from around a turn in the tunnel. They were clothed in rich, luxuriant silks, and rambling on in conversation while ignorant of their crouching foes waiting in an ambush ahead.
I don't know who's talking.
That barbarian dog is cringing beneath the weight of the lash at this moment, sire. He shall cause no more disturbance.
I think that's the prince.
Yeah.
I think that's you.
Aye, and so it is with any who dare cross the path of Sargon's chosen one,
said the second man.
But the peasants are showing signs of growing unrest. They complain that they cannot feed their families while burdened with your taxes.
I can't feed my family either, it's okay.
Yeah.
I shall teach those sluts the meaning of humility. Order an immediate increase upon their taxes. They dare to question my sovereign authority. Ha! Ah! They shall soon learn what true oppression can be. I will...
You know, I imagine that laugh to be like Scratch from Sonic the Hedgehog, like Scratch and Grounder.
And it's spelled capital H-A-A.
They dare to question my sovereign authority.
Yes, good. Anyways, a shadowed bulk leapt from behind a jutting promontory as it brought down a double-edged axe with the sped of a striking... What? The sped of a striking thought. One of the nobles sagged lifeless to the ground, skull split to the teeth.
So it's not split very far, is it?
Grigner gasped as he observed the bisected face set in its leering death agonies. It was Agafind! The dead man's comrade, having recovered from his shock, drew a jewel-encrusted dagger from beneath the folds of his robe and lunged towards the barbarian's back. Grigner spun at the sound from behind him and smashed down his crimsoned axe once more. His antagonist lunged, howling to the streams of stagnant green water, gasping a sprouting stump that had once been a wrist. Grigner raised his axe over his head and prepared, but spelled pair as in like two or something. It's prepared, so he like...
Made two?
He was two, but before now.
Okay.
To finish the incomplete job. Incomplete. Is that how you spell incomplete?
That is the correct
okay.
way.
I'm just on drugs. But was deterred halfway through his lunge by a frenzied screech from behind. Carthena leapt to the head of the rising figure, plunging a smoldering torch into the agonized face. The howls increased in their horrid intensity, stifled by the sizzling of roasting flesh, then died down until the man was reduced to a blubbering mass of squirming, insensate flesh. Is this kid just jerking off into a thesaurus?
I guess so.
Grigner advanced to Carthena's side, wincing slightly from the putrid aroma of charged flesh that rose in a puff of thick white smog throughout the chamber. Carthena reeled slightly, staring dazedly downward at her gruesome handiwork.
I had to do it. It was Agaphim. I had to. She exclaimed! Exclamation point. So, what? So he cut Agaphim's face in half.
But the other dude was also Agaphim?
So she put a torch on somebody. And then she was like, I had to. Even though he was dead, so was she just doing it for fun?
What? Sargon should be more careful of his right-hand men, added Grigner, a smug grin upon his lips. But to hell with Sargon for now. The stench is becoming bothersome to me. With that, Grigner grasped Carthena around the waist, leading her around the bend in the cave and into the open. A ball of feral red was rising through the mists of the eastern horizon, dissipating the slinking shadows of the night. A coral stood before the A coral.
A coral.
A coral.
Like the thing that's in the ocean.
Yeah. Stood before the pair, enclosing two grazing mares.
Imagining a coral.
It's a coral,
and there's
just like two horses
on
strapped in it. Grigner reached into a weighted down leather pouch dangling at his side and drew forth the scintillating red emerald he had obtained from the bloated idol. Raising it towards the sun, he said, "We shall do well with Bobble, eh?"
What?
Carthena gaped at the gem, gasping in a terrified manner.
The Eye of Argon! Oh, Kala!
At this, the gem gave off a blinding glow, then dribbled through Grigner's fingers in a slimy red ooze. Grigner stepped back, pushing Carthena behind him. The droplets of slime slowly converged into a pulsating jelly-like mass. A single opening transfixed the blob, forming into a leech-like maw. Then the hideous transgressor of nature flowed towards Grigner, a trail of greenish slime lingering behind it. A single gap puckered repeatedly, emitting a ghastly sucking sound.
Helium.
Grigner spread his legs into a battle stance, steeling his quivering thews for a battle royale with a thing he knew not how to fight. Carthena wound her arms about her protector's neck, mumbling,
Kill it! Kill!
while her entire body trembled.
The thing was almost upon Grigner when he buried his axe into the grisly maw.
It passed through the blob and clanged upon the ground. Grigner drew his axe back with a film of yellow-green slime clinging to the blade. The thing was seemingly unaffected. Then it started to slooze up his leg.
Sluice.
It sloozed.
It's like,
It was sloozing. This is like a Dr. Seuss word.
no, it wasn't sluice, that thing in My Little Pony. Get that helium.
The hairs upon his nape stood on end from the slimy feel of the thing's bully bulk. The gnaw-to-us sucking sound became louder, and Grigner felt the blood being drawn from his body. With each hiss of hideous pucker, the thing increased in size. Grigner shook his foot about madly in an attempt to dislodge the blob, but it clung like a leech, still feeding upon his rapidly draining life fluid.
That stuff again.
He grasped his hands, trying to rip it off, but only found his hands entangled in a sickly glue-like substance. The slimy thing continued its puckering, now having grown the size of Grigner's leg from its vampiric feast. Grigner began to reel and stagger under the blob, his chalk-white face and faltering muscles attesting to the gigantic loss of blood. Carthena slipped from Grigner in a death-like faint, a morrow-chilling scream upon her red, rubish lips. In the final desperation, Grigner grasped the smoldering torch from the ground and plunged it into the reeking maw of the travesty. But if it's sucking on his leg...
Its mouth isn't going to be open.
Yeah. A shudder passed through the thing. Grigner felt the blackness closing upon his eyes, but held on with the last ebb of his rapidly waning vitality. He could feel its grip lessening as a hideous...
Lessening? Yeah. Like a school lesson. Yeah.
As a hideous gurgling sound erupted from the writhing maw, the jelly-like mass began to bubble like a vat of boiling tar as quavers passed up and down its entire form. And that's the end of the book.
Yes, but there is a lost ending.
Yeah, as we said in an earlier episode, the last page of this story was always missing.
And it was missing for years.
Years. I think it was actually only recently that
yes,
they found
very
it.
recently. I want to say 2012 or 2013 they actually found it.
I'm sure we could find the date, but that sounds like work.
Yeah.
But, so that's how the story ended in most editions, but someone found the lost ending. And it begins, with a sloshing plop, the thing fell to the ground, evaporating in a thick scarlet cloud until it's reattained its original size. It remained thus for a moment as the puckered maw took the shape of a protruding red eyeball, the pupil of which seemed to unravel before it the tale of creation.
Before it the tale of creation.
How a shapeless mass slithered from the quagmires of the stigmatic pool of time, only to degenerate into a leprosy of avaricious lust. In that fleeting moment, the grim mystery of life was revealed before Grigner's ensnared gaze.
What?
The eyeball's glare turned into a sudden plea of mercy, a plea for the whole of humanity. Then the blob began to quiver with its violent convulsions. The eyeball shattered into 1,000 tiny fragments and evaporated in a curling wisp of scarlet mist. The very ground below the thing began to vibrate and swallow it up with a belch. The thing was gone forever. All that remained was a dark red blotch upon the face of Earth, blotching things up. A blotch upon the face of the Earth, blotching things up. Shaking his head, his shaggy mane to clear the jumbled fragments of his mind, Grigna tossed the limp female over his shoulder.
Just fucking...
Mounting one of the disgruntled mares and leading the other, the weary, scarred barbarian trooted slowly off into the horizon to become a tiny pinpoint in a filtered field of swirling blue mist.
What the fuck?
Leaving the nobles, soldiers, and peasants to replace the missing monarch. Long live the king. By Jim Theus, winner of the J.T. Rickoch Award for Excellence.
That was the lost ending. That was the lost ending.
I'm glad that was there. It cleared everything up. Long live the king.
He tooted. He tooted
slowly. So that was the Eye of Argon. I think that took us like an hour and a half to get through.
Yes, what did you think of it?
I thought of it frequently when, when torn asunder by nightmares.
What?
I feel like I'm never going to get that brain power back. I feel like we kind of jumped the shark, though. What are we going to do for the rest of this series? Because I don't think we're ever going to top the Eye of Argon.
Fanfiction?
Oh, I don't want to open that boat. Oh.
Shrek fanfiction?
Oh, you're the devil.
The thing is that, there's so many badly written things out there. Like, a friend of ours suggested we do Aragon the book. I don't think we will, but it's just, that is a testament to how truly horrible, the world of the written word is.
I feel like bad published work is far more interesting of an endeavor than fanfiction, because anyone can publish fanfiction. You can write whatever you want.
Yeah.
You can sit down and jerk off onto a page and throw it out there and anyone can read it. Example, My Immortal. Someone just vomited that out and threw it out there. But Silk and Steel, someone submitted that to a publisher.
And they said,
and the publisher
yes.
was like, yeah man, we're gonna spend time, money, and resources putting this on paper and selling it to people. And even the Eye of Argon, someone took the time to type out multiple editions of this, bind them, and distribute them.
Yeah.
Someone other than just the writer thought that this was worthy of the world.
He won an award for excellence.
Well, it was a fanzine, so who knows what that really
actually
entails.
means. But there is a lot of really bad written work out there for me.
Oh, yeah.
I do want to get Silk and Steel, but that book's $60.
Yeah, I don't get how Silk and Steel can be,
Yeah. Yeah.
But Eye of Argon, 10 out of 10. Would recommend.
Obviously we weren't able to do the fucking helium challenge.
Yeah, it didn't work as well as we wanted.
Because when I went to go do it, you fucking laughed your balls off.
To be fair,
I sound really funny.
Yes. Yes. I feel like we need a lot more helium to do anything more in future too. We ran out pretty quick.
And I thought I had a lot.
Yeah,
but it's a learning experience.
It's a learning curve.
Podcast.
We'll perfect being obnoxious by the end of this, I'm sure.
And we'll find more hilarious published things to read.
Yes.
I've always wanted to tear down articles in my local paper.
You're not talking about the Martlet, are you?
I am talking about
I hate the Martlet. I hate it.
So I guess our journey will continue onward another day?
Onward and upward into the future.
Yeah.
We all that's left is for us to slowly troot into the horizon.
To become a tiny pinpoint in a filtered feel of swirling blue mists.
As the parching rays of incandescence filter down upon us. The story has taken something from us. It's fundamentally robbed us of something that we once were.
It sucked something out of us like the Eye of Argon.
I'm leaving now. I'm gonna go somewhere else and think about things that aren't this.
Pigeon, come back. Come back.